So about 2 days ago, we got a really big information drop when it comes to Phase 4 for Marvel Studios. And one of the movies that got a lot of people talking was The Marvels, which comes out November 11th, 2022. Now, the reason that this is interesting is because why was it changed to The Marvels from Captain Marvel 2? A very successful movie that you think they would have faith to give a standalone sequel to, but instead, it's a team-up movie between Miss Marvel, Monica Rambeau, and Carol Danvers. Losing a little faith in Brie Larson, are we? That's what I'm thinking. And it turns out there might be a little bit more to this. There's a rumor that came out that I want to talk about and go over with you guys, but there was some other information that happened. There's a lot of weird things going on with this movie. So the biggest one is, well, why is Brie Larson, of course, taking a back seat? And according to that rumor, the idea of her being very controversial is getting in the way of them having a little bit more faith in her. I'll get into that one. First, I want to start here. They're revamping Miss Marvel and actually making some improvements to her, in my opinion. So according to Grace Randolph, who can be a little iffy on her information, I tend to believe this one, though, because of what she's saying. So according to her, Kamala Khan will not be an Inhuman nor mutant. I would rather her be a mutant because that would be a little bit better. I wouldn't want her to be the first mutant to be introduced, but I have always said if you really want to make that character a little bit more successful, you make her a mutant. Get rid of the stupid Inhuman thing because nobody cares about the Inhumans. And apparently, according to her, Kevin Feige also hates the Inhumans, and he's changing that. She's basically going to have purple Green Lantern powers. She's going to have some kind of bracelets that give her powers. She won't be able to change her body size at will, but she'll be able to have a few other tricks, particularly like the giant fists and stuff. She's going to basically be a Green Lantern type of deal, which would be a lot cooler. I think that her powers are kind of stupid. So, like, whatever you can do there would be an improvement. Her not being an Inhuman alone is an improvement. So, it seems that they're taking that character and changing her around a little bit, which I think is smart. The other big thing is that the director deleted her account. That's interesting. Like, why did she delete her account? Did she say something? Did she have some stuff on her account that Disney didn't want to see? Either way, right around the time that they dropped that teaser, she bounced off Twitter. Now, whether she comes back or not, I don't know. It's just very strange that she just up and left. She's just gone. Apparently, it's because she liked to troll a little bit. I never saw anything of her outright telling anybody that they're garbage or whatever. And she would get a little political. You can see here some of the political stuff that she was retweeting and stuff like that. But she's gone, which I think more people should do. Get off Twitter and stop turning off fan bases with your political opinions. And then finally, the big rumor that I wanted to go over. Carol Danvers being phased out of MCU. Monica Rambeau in as Captain Marvel. Now, that'd be an improvement to me. I think the woman who plays Monica Rambeau is a much better actress, for one. And I'm all for getting rid of Brie Larson because Brie Larson, she's terrible as Captain Marvel. She had a very robotic facial expressions in that movie. She was terrible in that movie. And, you know, people always like to point out the fact that it made $1 billion, and that's true, it did. But you're never going to convince me that that movie would have done well if it hadn't have been sandwiched between two of the highest grossing movies of all time. That, of course, is Infinity War and Endgame. Okay, those movies were incredibly successful. And they made it look like Captain Marvel you needed to see that movie. They made it look like you needed to see that movie if you want to understand Endgame better, which you didn't need to do. And you had everybody coming off of that Infinity War hype. They were eating that movie up because of that. And if you take that movie out of that release date that it had, I think that movie would have done okay still, no matter what, because it's a Marvel movie. But I don't think it would have hit $1 billion. It wouldn't have hit $1 billion. And it's interesting, it's the fact that it made $1 billion, and it's not Captain Marvel 2, it's the Marvels, which is already kind of confusing. Kind of lands credit, I believe, to that theory that it wouldn't do that well on its own, and that they don't have a lot of faith in Brie Larson. I think they're very well aware of the controversy surrounding her in fandom, and that's why I think that they've given her a backseat in her own franchise. She's sharing the screen with two other women. And I do think that they're going to phase her out, and they're going to put Monica Rambeau in as Captain Marvel, which I think would be much better. It'd be an improvement for sure. And they're going to move on. I think it's something that everybody would like to see. So I think they're going to do it. And according to this rumor, that's exactly what's going to happen. So according to Pirates and Princesses here, they say, please take this with a grain of salt. But with Marvel recently unveiling their upcoming lineup of films for Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, many of the film names titles have dropped. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and The Marvels. But in the title for The Marvels, the S at the end was in the style of the old lightning bolt that Carol Danvers used to wear when she was known as Miss Marvel. Same with the current iteration of the Miss Marvel in the comics, Kamala Khan, who will also make an appearance in the film played by Iman Vellani, along with Monica Rambeau, played by Miss Paris in the recent WandaVision TV series. A number of recent rumors have suggested that due to Brie Larson being considered a controversial figure for the MCU, dividing fans of the MCU for her portrayal of the character and a number of her political comments, rubbing people the wrong way, that she will be retired from the role. But because Disney doesn't like bad PR, they will most likely have her character be phased out, with the new character taking place while Brie would move on to the rumored Star Wars: The High Republic Disney Plus show. Some speculate how Carol Danvers will be phased out of the MCU. In the original comics, the character of Carol Danvers was temporarily in a coma due to being touched by X-Men character Rogue, who gained her powers. If Rogue makes an appearance in the film, that will be a possibility. Another theory suggests that Carol would sacrifice herself, and that Monica Rambeau, the first female Captain Marvel from the comics, could take over the mantle. These are all just rumors at the moment. Brie Larson is still confirmed to be returning as Captain Marvel for the Marvels, but the likelihood that she would rather pursue a role at Lucasfilm is there. So, I think there's something to some of that. The Rogue thing, I don't think is going to happen. You'd have to introduce mutants first and get those. You would have to introduce the mutants first and establish them a little bit better. I don't think that that's going to be the case. I do think the idea of her sacrificing herself is a high possibility. You give her a noble death, and then you let Monica Rambeau kind of take up the mantle, and I think everyone's happy. I don't like the idea of her going over to Star Wars, but Star Wars is kind of lost anyway. So it's like, if we can somehow save the MCU and get her out of there, that would be better, because her as the face of the MCU is a disaster. So you put Monica Rambeau in, and you give her a noble death. Brie Larson moves on and sails away, and we get to have Monica Rambeau up as Captain Marvel, which I think would be a humongous improvement to the character. So I'd like to see that. Whether or not it's true or not, I don't know, but the fact that she's taking a backseat in her own movie really pushes this to a higher level of credibility, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. Interesting stuff. We'll see. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below what is going to happen. Also, if you would, please like, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, take a moment. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. There's something going on right now, and they've been unsubscribing people. So just take a second and double check on that and subscribe if you're new.